So today we will see like a database connection. Okay, we already saw all those things like a get mapping and post mapping. This is for starting. Okay, so today we will get data from user and we will store into database like I will say how to do and all. So first we already saw like whatever we already saw that I will give quick overview. First we will see controller. So this is what that get mapping. Okay, get mapping in a sense we will send all the data in a URL. Okay, so this like a request form is name value. So already I taught you how to we send also. So if you need one more thing I will tell. So now this is okay, this is for that URL. If we call this URL it will access that mapping. And another one thing here, you need to send some variable like a name. That name variable I will send that value for that Raj. Okay, so if I will send this name it will visible in that URL. So this we don't need to do like this. Okay, so we need to do like whatever we send the variables we hide and we will send. Okay, so that reason we are using for a post mapping. So post mapping in a sense we will send all the data in a object formation. Okay, so this like object formation. In the object formation it like all the data should be JSON format only. Okay, it will not to other format. So in a like how we will send the data like body of object we will send, and the data is raw data and the type is JSON format. Okay, so this is for the JSON format we send the data. So now this is for get mapping and post mapping, it's completed. Now we already we send the data like this data id1 demo and null. So this data we want to store into database. Okay, so first we need to configure some database configuration in the application. So how we will configure? So in that application it have a resource folder. That resource folder it's have that application.properties file. Here it is there. Okay, see, this is what that application.properties file. We already mention that port number is 9000. If you need to change any port number you can change. Okay, now here I will configure that MySQL. So today we will see MySQL database connection. So that configuration we will do. So I have already this connection. I will okay, so that configuration I will send you. Okay, this is not set up on property. Okay, so this configuration is very must. In normal JDPC connection you already configure like this, like this com.mysql.cj.jdpc driver. This is for driver class name. Okay, and we need for that URL. So JDPC MySQL, this URL is localhost, port is 3306. This is for default port and default server also. Like this training in a sense I'm mentioning my database. Okay, after the database we need to give username and password also. Here I did not give any password. So if you need to give password you can give like this, like password. Okay, so password in a sense like pass. Okay, so you can give like this. Now I don't need to give the password. Okay, so I'm not configure that password. Okay, and I need to create table. So which database we can use now? I in my local I am using for a SAMP. Okay, so this is for a local database server. So this is for PHP testing purpose, PHP language. Okay, so but we can use anywhere. Like I am using for this Java application. So that SAMP server I am using for storage purpose. Okay, so now I have that SAMP in my local, so it automatically on. Okay, so if you need I will give that SAMP also. Now in this port also, like this all the database is working in my that where in SAMP only. Okay, so I already created a lot of database. Now we can create a new database for our purpose. I will create a new query editor. So this application name is my SQL community edition. So this application we can use multiple time also. So it have a simple feature only, it not have a advanced feature. Okay, so we are a beginner, so we can use to learn all those things here. Okay, now I will mention this URL in description. If you need, you can download. Now what I will do, I will create one database. Create database. So the database name is for we giving for a normal one. So already training is there. Okay, so this training database I can use. Like now the training database there, so we can create table only. It's enough. So I will create a table. Create table. So the table, in a sense, we need to mention first the database. So this is for database. After dot, that table name. So table name, we are training only. So what I will do, I will give for demo. So our application is demo v. So same name also I'm mentioning. For this is for testing purpose. If we move project time, we can mention proper table name and database name also. Okay, now it's enough for us. Like I'll create like table. And one more thing, this table if you create, you need to go all the datas and uh, the data types also. Like first is integer, so I'll mention int id. So id, in a sense, it's our two types of id. Like we can increase every time, and another one it have a auto increment type also. If you mention auto increment type, it will add every one time one value. We don't need to increment we don't need to increment the value. Okay, so now what I will do, I will not mention auto increment. This is for normal one. So after we can mention auto increment. Now id is for integer. Id int. Okay, and another one for not null. So I'm giving the constraint is not null. Okay, so and one more thing, this one is a primary key. I mentioned like primary key. So if you mention primary key, no, we don't need to mention not null constraint. Primary key. After name, and the name, it have that name is default thing. So what I will do, I will mention like user name. So if you mention, it will not consider all the names. Okay, so user name, and please follow proper naming convention. Okay, now that name also, like we need to give the data type. I will give the var condition. So var characters. Okay, so var char. So var char, in a sense, we will give like some length. Okay, so that length I will give for hundreds. Okay, and comma, and one more thing, not null constraint I will give not null. And one more thing for address. Okay, so yesterday what we saw, that same data only I'm using. Okay, this address, that's also varchar. In a sense, I will put like 200 characters we can use, and then not null. Okay, so it's enough. I will create this table now. See, create table. 0 row is affected, so it not have problem. Okay, do you have any doubt?
The table name is training, right?
Not a database is a database is a training. After I'm mentioning demo with, this is for a table name. Okay,
Demo is the
table name.
Okay.
Okay, like that create table I mentioned now, so we can like another one also we can mention like copy and I paste here and use training. After we can mention like this also, if you use training means use database training. Okay, after that inside of the training database we will create demo. If I'll run this, see error something, it's okay. Use database. So it's giving some error, so you can use like this only. Okay, so this is for a database. After we will mention like a table. Now the next one, so now we created the table in the database. So what we will do, like we have the data also, we will send this data into backend and we will process the data and store it into database. Okay, now what I will do, this configuration is completed. And one more thing, now if configuration is also completed, but we need to add some libraries dependencies. Okay, so that dependencies I will mention. First one for this is we have already like web spring web and dev tool. So now we I already added for a JPA and MySQL connector also. Okay, now this two is very important, so I will add these two dependency in our project. Okay, so now what I will do, I will create a new 1 minute start.spring.io. I will open that spring initializer website. Okay, here we will add the libraries. I will mention maven and it's java. Okay, it's okay, it's fine. And here add dependencies is there. I will click and whatever I need I will search. First one is for MySQL connector, MySQL. So this is for MySQL driver, sorry, not a connector. This driver have that connectors. Okay, so if I will click it will come. After another one for JPA repository, that is for very important. I will mention why it is very important. Okay, so in that normal project, okay, normal Java application, if anything it need for a MySQL connectors and every queries we need to write our own. Okay, like we need for SQL knowledge also. If you create if you use a JPA repository in okay Spring Boot JPA repository, it have it have a lot of inbuilt methods. Okay, that repository, that is for interface. So what it will do, if we call that function, like a save method is there and a delete method and a find method, it is a lot of different method is there. So if you can use that method to find all the data from database, like great applications like okay insert update delete we can do. Further means it like update and all we need to mention two different way. I will mention after. Okay, one by one we can see. So if you use JPA repository, you don't need for SQL knowledge. Okay, if you have a little bit SQL knowledge also, it's enough. Now I will use this two dependency. So what I will do, I will explore this data, so it will show all the data here. I will copy the dependencies name. So this is for first one JPA, I copy this one. And MySQL, see this MySQL connector J, so this is also there. I will copy this those two dependencies and add into our project. So this is like this one. So this is what our project. See, we already have a dev tool and web only is there. Okay, I will add for that two dependencies here. See, now it's added. So what I will do, once if you add also we need to install that all the libraries. Okay, this is for name of the libraries only. So what I'll do, first I will clean the previous installations. Okay, so I will maven clean. It taking a little bit of time. Now it's running. So build is success. Okay, so now the cleaning is success. Again we need to install all the libraries. So again I will run maven installer. Again it's getting started. Now it will run. And one more time I explain. If you add a JPA repository in your application, okay, so what you need to do, first you need to configure database configuration, otherwise it will give error only. Okay, if you configure this database configuration, after you can add the dependencies, it will fine. Okay, it will not give any error. So now is build success, all the libraries also installed in our applications. Okay, so now what I will do next, we have the data, so we will check once. First I will run up our application. Now it's running. See, our port is 9000, it's working. Okay, so it's not have any problem, my project is started. So what I will do, so same method we already tried, so that same mapping I will use and I will test one. Now enter the valid address, because it's null. I will type something like some data 12/22, street, place. So I will simply mention like this. Okay, so we already have the same data in a DTO class also, like the same data, int name address. So whenever we will send the data, it will stored here. After it will go one object format. Okay, so in control itself like this method. Okay, so demo DTO, so it will create that object and it will give to us. So that object we can process everywhere. So one more thing we need to create, like a same like a demo DTO, but its name is a entity. So first I will create a entity, after I will explain why it's needed. Okay, so first I will create a entity class, that name. Okay, class demo entity, and package name also give entity. Okay, now it's fine. See, now it's created here. And one more thing, what I will do, in same data in a DTO, so I will copy that same data and I will paste into here also. Private int id. Okay, and then next one more thing, what we need to do, we need to configure all the database and table also here. So we already configure the database in application.properties file. See, my database is here, so don't need to configure again the database. So what I will do, in the entity I will configure my table name. So how we can configure at entity, so this is also Spring feature entity. So this is first one, I will click, so it imported. After this entity, what it will do, it will like like a entity means it's a database connection. Okay, so this data what it will do, so this entity in this class it will directly configure into the table, like this table. Okay, so here see id, username and address also is there now. Same here also id, name, address also is there. Okay, whenever everything it will change, like every data it happen, every event or anything it's happened, it will reflect in table also. Okay, so that way we are mentioned like this is for entity class. So for once we configure entity, after we'll configure table name. At table name, table name, sorry, table inside we need to mention like name. So name of the table, which name I am copy this demo v and paste here. Okay, so we are configure that table also. Next what we will do, so here 3 column is there, so every column we need to configure here also. Like that column I will mention like whatever it have first, but is the column here the variable name is different, here variable's name is different, so it is not a problem. So we need to give that column name properly. Okay, so first thing one by one we can write. So id is there, so okay, so this id in first is id. Okay, so that id is a integer format. After primary key also mentioned, so primary key you need to know what is primary key also. You can go through little bit of sql also. Okay, now this id I will mention like user id, user id. So this id is different, this id that name is different, but we can configure same thing. Okay, now what I will do, first thing we will see like this is what primary key. So in this variable first we will mention like at id. So id in a sense it's a primary key, it will mention like primary key. Okay, next at column, so this column I will write like we need to give the name of the column. So name equal to, so what kind of name it is, id. Okay, so I will give this id here. After next same thing here also, so this column I will copy and paste here everywhere, and I will change the name only. So here what the name is, here username, I will copy this username and paste here, and this name what, address, and copy and paste here. So what we are doing here, we will configure this column into this java variable. Okay, so if you store any variable or delete or update anything, it will reflect on table also in a database. Okay, understand? And then next one more thing, so we need to add like some libraries, not a library, some feature, some option we need to add like a getter setter methods. Okay, because we are using private method. So private in a sense, this private method what it will do, if we create any variable or any function, we can use only for in that class only itself only. We can't use anywhere in outside, like outside of another class and outside of package and all. Okay, so what we'll do, we will create like a getter setter methods and object we can do. Now first I will make like a normal constructor. Okay, so this is what normal constructor I created, and the next one for field constructor. So field constructor means it's like it's have all the fields like these variables it's contain. Okay, and next thing I will create getter setter methods. Getter setter, I will click all the field, and the next toString method I want. Why I am using toString method, we need to see all the data inside the object. Okay, so that I'm using for this toString method. Now it's completed. Okay, so what I will do in a controller. Okay, so this controller we are using demo now. We will change once, and one more thing, we now we will create another one class also, like that's for a repository, not a class, that is for a interface. So what I will do, I will create a one more class. That class is for a here I will create a repository, that package name. Okay, and one more thing for like here demo repository. Okay, so and next thing, here we need to add a interface, like how we can add, see this interface is there. Okay, so I will add here. If you don't know how to add, here you can search like JPA. So it will give a lot of things. Okay, and write JPA repository. So it will give two things. So what I will do, I will create a first thing also, it's second things also, it's fine. Okay, so now first I will add a first one. Okay, JPA repository. Okay, now I am added here, and the next I will finish it added here. See, so now what we will do, we need to change some we need to modify something, like here class is there. I will modify to interface, and this implement I will replace into extends. Okay, this extends. Now it's fine. And this repository it need for a entity class and id. Okay, so id means primary key, which is contain a primary key, so we need to mention that data type. So first we need to mention like that entity class. Okay, so which entity class, like this we now only we created. Okay, so this is what that entity class, like see demo entity. So I copy this entity and paste into that repository, first one. After you want to import this one, so if you click like this it will import. Okay, so and the next one, that id, so which contain the primary key. See, so that first one, id, user id is contain primary key, so we need to mention that type of that variable. So how integer. Okay, so now it's fine. So we configure entity class also, yep, repository also. Today we created entity class and repository, and we configured. Okay, so next what we will do, we already completed that process. Okay, next we need to connect this repository, and we will upload the data into the table. Okay, I will take a controller. See, so what we did, in a request body we created for a demo TTO. That demo TTO it contain all the data, correct? Now, so what I will do, I will remove this demo TTO. Okay, and I will remove here also. What I will do, I will configure that entity class here, entity, like a user entity. No, this demo entity, sorry, and I will mention that variable name also entity, and I will import here. So what it will do, it same data configuration also in this. Okay, like in a DTO also it's same data, like ID, name and address. Sorry, this name we changed. Okay, so that name we need to change, like this one, user ID I will change here, and the name is same name only, and address also same address only, correct? So what we will do, we will not use this one, we can directly use that entity class. Okay, in controller I will take this entity, it will contain all the data. Okay, and in next this entity we will send to service, and in save method is there. If I will click, it will come. So here it is already there DTO. I will change this DTO into entity, like demo entity. demo entity. Okay, now it's fine. After this entity we need to validate now. So that validate we can do, we will see tomorrow. Okay, so today what we will do, we have the entity of data and we need to store that data into table. Okay, database table. So first what I will do, I will call this repository here in service. Okay, how I will call, we already, this is what a repository. Okay, so interface is for a JPA repository, so don't need to mention anything. So what I will do, I will, in that service I will create a auto wire and I will mention like that repository, demo repository I will copy and I will paste here, and I will give the small variable name is repo, simple. Okay, and one more thing, we need to import this one. Okay, I imported, now it's fine. Okay, so now I imported this repository. After what I will do, I have this data in DTO also, so I will call this repository and save the data into table repo dot save. So if you like, if you type that repo variable, after if you type dot also, it will give all the features. Okay, I told no, we don't need a SQL knowledge, it will give it have a lot of inbuilt function. We can use that inbuilt function to access the table in from database. Okay, so now what I will do here, see, save entity is there, like if you type also it will come save entity. So if you have only one object of data, you can save, you need to save, so you can use this one. Otherwise you have a list of data. Okay, so that list of data you want to store into database, no, you can use like second one. So now we have only one object of data, so that is for entity object. Okay, so what I will do, first one I will use and I will send this entity here. Okay, and one more thing, if you save, it will give the it, we need to know it will success or not. So what I will do, this one I will create a one string, sorry, int variable, var. So var means it's like a small variable, I'm mentioning like that variable name. Okay, and it will giving error because it will give for optional of data. So what I will do, change type into, sorry, demo. So whatever, if you store the data, same data only it will return. Okay, so what I will do next, I will use if class to validate the return data. So it will this var will contain all the data, returned data. So I'm using that var not equal to null means. Okay, if it is not equal to null means we need to return success. I will return success. Okay, otherwise else what will else, failed. Okay, so two things, if not equal to null mean it will save, otherwise it will come here. Okay, now I will check same data. See, we already have this data like id, name and address. So I will check once anything I changed in that entity. So every variable name also you want to check. Okay, properly, like here user id is there, but in a testing we are using for normal id only, so I will change user id. Okay, now I will check this data. It giving error, does the computers variable, 1 minute. What is the error?
I think
DTO cannot be
user
called to
controller.
view. Okay, where it is the DTO in controller. Sorry, here I didn't save. Now I saved all those things. Now it's properly, it's complete properly. Okay, again I will
Yeah.
send the same data. See success. Okay, so what we did, we already have this post mapping, but earlier we configured DTO here. Okay, but what we did now, we create a one entity class. That entity class contain all the data, same like a DTO. Okay, after we configure that table here. Okay, so entity table. So if everything like any data it's affected here, like if you are storing one or two anything, it will reflect directly reflect on data table, but it will not store, it will not affect, it will reflect only. Okay, so it will reflect mean it will create a one log. If you give the like if you give conditions, it will upload or not. Okay, so now we have this entity class. After what we did, we created one repository. So this repository, what it will do, it will create a one session for entity table to that Java JDPC driver connection and all. It will create all those things here only. We don't need to give all those things. Okay, so we already have the configuration in application.property file. Okay, this configuration like this JDPC connection, localhost and all. Okay, so what it will do in that repository, if you configure that entity class, it will create all those things like connections, connection clause, everything it will manage. Okay, so what we will do, we will store the data in a entity class. After that it will give an object in service. Okay, like in control this one. So if we already store the data into entity, that entity we will process everywhere. Okay, so everywhere means I am sending to service dot save method. So it contain the data like entity of data. Okay, after we are creating that repo of one variable, so that variable we call and save the method. Okay, so this save method, what it will do, it will save all the data in database. Okay, now I will show the database. Select store from table. Okay, sorry, select store from, I'm copy this training demo over here. Okay, see 0 demo and 12 and 12 street place, but here reflecting 0. So something happened. What like in user ID we are giving for 1. Okay, so what I will do, I will print this data in our application, then only we will see what happened. I will print this data here, system sys out, and I will print this data of object. Now I saved, it will restart. Now I will run again. So it giving error. Okay, I will mention why it will giving error, because that ID we are mentioned primary key, but we are sending that same value, so it's giving error. And one more thing, what is the output, I will see. I need that printed output. See, this is what I sent. So user ID it making directly 0. Okay, but name is demo and address is something, but something happened in entity. I will check what happened. Like int ID, this only we are copied and sent into this place, user ID. And what's the problem, like here it is our primary key, that is the problem. Okay, and again I will send that same data. I will change 2 1 to 2. It has same problem. it will now take a user id, it's a 2. Okay, so what we will do, I told no that auto increment, so I will implement that auto increment. Tomorrow we can implement. Okay, so tomorrow we will implement and we will see what it will happen. So now that the class is over, so you have any doubt, I'll close the session.